Okay, everybody. So at the moment, I'm getting ready for the long month ahead. Whoa. Okay. So I'm getting ready for the long month ahead, getting my cards shuffled, and hopefully, these prayers that I'm receiving, I know I'm receiving prayers. I know people have been looking for me to be back. It feels like it's been over a week. Much needed. I deserved it, but it's like whenever I decide to go away, it's like they are not expecting it. And then when I'm all in and I'm working and I'm in the zone, uh, I tend to I energetically I think I overwhelm people, and so when I'm working, it's like they make me feel like they're saying, "So, do you ever take a break?" So that's what they make me feel, and I don't like it. Makes That feeling makes me feel uncomfortable. But of course, I'm very gracious, and I say, well, is my client, have you checked on my client? I always put it that way, because I like to imagine that I feel like my client is going to feel, you know? So, I mean, I'm a psychic. And I don't think anyone can relate to that. I mean, unless you're in unless you are actually providing a care service, I don't think no one can truly understand. It's kind of like, I guess, if you're a chef, right? And you prepare a meal and you want them to, whomever is going to actually be eating your meal, you want them to feel good about eating your meal. So I don't like to, I like my energy to be untainted. Like I don't, that's how I approach a reading fresh. And so I do not answer questions like when people ask, I don't even like it when people say, "How are you?" It just seems so superficial. It's like, is that all you got? So I don't answer it directly. I more like say, "How is my client?" Or I'll say, "Is my client okay? Is my client doing well?" Or you have a client for me? Like there it is right there. Well, you have a client for me? Depends on how my client feels. And if my client's okay, then I'll celebrate, then I'll start my celebration with my client. Oh yeah, we all are feeling good. So yeah, so that's the way that I view that. But anyway, my point with bringing all this up is when I'm in the zone and working, I think I'm overwhelming because they're like, hey, you ever take a break? And then when I take my break, it's like they weren't ready. I'm like, come on. Now, before you were like, now you're like, well, we really could use the help. So, yeah, so it's always something. I'm working on it, you guys. I'm trying to get back centered. I told you. I called it. I said, I need like okay, I think I have like 425 watch hours. I said this is going to be the most difficult 100 hours to control. My goal is to get to 500 watch hours. I had so I lost like a maybe like nine estimation, like 9 hours. I am struggling. I knew it. I said, this is gonna be the roughest 100 hours to obtain to reach the goal of 500 watch hours ever. I mean, I was like, just the other day when I saw how many hours that they wiped out from me being inactive, I said, I don't even know if I want this anymore. I was like, what am I doing this again for? What, like, do I have to? I know. I know. When I kept the conversation going in my head, they're like, "Yes, you have to. This is the road to independence." What's that? Oh, okay. So I have to work on my YouTube channel. Yes, yes, you have to work on your YouTube channel. It says the spirits. Hi, Emin, hi, Bonnie, Wooly. Uh, yeah, hello. I'm I am coming back from a crazy, feels like it's been 10 days, but I've actually felt very good though. I mean, I needed it. I've even had time where I somehow got myself to not be on the internet, and I heard nothing but, the sounds of emptiness. It's like, yes, I need this. Then I finally went. Oh, I needed to go for my walk. So I had definitely abandoned for a while. Got my energy back. I'm athletic. So, uh, but I'm very, very reserved. So, okay, so I went on my thing. I was way out there, in the wilderness, in the wild, right? And I was like, this was like a midnight stroll on this particular one, and I was in my grove. That's my kind of like my temple in the nature. Is three tall, like look like, I mean, they're like evergreen trees. Like there's like three of them in the middle of a grove, and I was standing in the middle of them, and I said, and it's something just energy. Earth is like gravity just pulled me down and said, I'm gonna sit down. I sat down. I had a different deck of cards, and I was like flipping over the cards, and I was like, wow, this actually feels quite good. And it just felt like all the energy was like pulling out of me and going into the ground. Like I was reconnecting with like a battery, like I was recharging. That's what it felt like. It was in the middle of the night, clearly, but it's also the cold, icy moon above us, white and cold, and I'm over here, I'm like plugging into Earth, and I'm like, this actually feels good. I was so close. I was this close to you guys to lying down. I was going to go to sleep, but I knew that I did not want to take on that second wave. I hurried and got back before 2 a.m., 3, where it starts to smell like you know, like, uh-oh, you out here way too long. This is like, so it was like beyond the witching hour. So it was like, yeah, when it gets to like, it's like, it goes like 3:45, then it's 3 o'clock, like the magic wanes, and you're like, oh boy, depression. It smells like depression out here and sadness. And then it goes, then it goes cooler to cold. Now it's forest, icy, you're tired, like, okay, I want to go home. Party's over. It says, you're a Libra. Good, 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 good. Pulling away. Oh my gosh. I am working, you guys. I am so working on you guys. You guys, what you should do is, you guys need to, okay, so I have clients booked. Yeah, I am booked. So like you guys like get behind like what do you call it? My waiting list. You guys need to get on my waiting list. Right now I'm shuffling the cards. I'm just shuffling the cards. I'm getting ready for Hades month. It's going to be Hades because the government shut down. People are worried. I know that's not affecting everybody. Some people are like, yeah, but that had nothing to do with me. All I want to know is about Jan, and Ben. I get it, and I'm getting ready. And by the way, this is a crazy month, but this is also a romantic month in so many ways. This month is about people. It's about groups. Your soul. It's about assimilating your soul group. Do not. I'm you speaking from I couldn't even push away. You know which groups you need that you push away, which groups you embrace. And you will be surprised who is your soul group. You do not judge your soul group based on like the face of the book. You know, they may be in a position of authority in some cases. So it might be a boss of some sorts, and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, this person gets on my nerve. There's no way this person could ever be a part of my soul tribe. We're not even equally yoked. Don't base it off of that. Or it might just be somebody who's a friend. And the person who you are not intimidated with, that person could be your biggest not soul tribe. That you know why? Because you say, "Oh, well, what do I have to fear? That person just listens. I can always tell that person to go away." Yeah, that person is the one that's saying, "Please mess up, please mess up." Because when you mess up, you're gonna have to come knock on my door. You're gonna come have to hang out with me. You're gonna spend time. You know, like you don't know. So like, so if they're like falling away, don't try to come and pick them up, rescue them, however you want to word it. Let them fall away. And those who are just keep coming, they keep coming, like they keep trying, but you're improving and you're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying that they come in with answers. By the way, you will already have your answers in place analytically. So the way it works is that I like to look at it like a road. That's the best way I explain it to my clients. So there's a road, and you're walking up the road. The difference is this time there's not a person, place, or thing in front of you blocking the view of your road in front of you, or the people who are moving, coming towards you up the road also are not blocked by looking at in the back of somebody's head. Like, have you ever been in a position where you're like, you want to help that person, but you can't? And every time you feel like you're getting close to a person where you can tell them something that's going to change your life forever, the person who's going to fall away eventually, you're always looking at the back of their head. They always like they come in right at the moment, like, and then they do their thing, and then you have to start all over again. Like, or you never ever tell that person that one little message. So that person is off the pictures, off the road, and all you can see is the soul tribe coming up the road, and the soul tribe can see you. The soul tribe have their own intentions of why they're approaching you, as you have your own intentions. They would, okay, the same work you're doing with, so it goes analyzing self, then it goes analyzing for solutions with a group, and then since the 30th, this is where we are today. Now it's about just you and the group. So this you make up the soul tribe. And now everybody is at their places, everybody knows what they're doing, everybody knows what for. And yeah, so in my case, I know exactly where I am supposed to be. I have enacted or initiated my all of my analyzed ideas and correlated them how much a person is going to help, a soul person, by the way, specifically, is going to assist, and where they stop, because yeah, they don't have the answers. The answers after you've analyzed what you just analyze as a group, kind of like what do you call it, like everybody knows what part they're individually gonna do, right? So that was it. So my ideas are becoming well, they all are, they have aligned. The place, okay, so my goal, my direction is I'm preparing to write, to start presenting my ebook, but it's like as early as December. I was pondering it before I go on live. I said, well, this could happen as early as December, because I also need the features so I can do newsletters so I can keep in touch with you all. By the way, when you all, what do you call it, join the list of people for me to read, Um, I it's going to be through PayPal. There's this, I mean, for now, that's the way, and it feels like I might just use PayPal. I've been contemplating it. PayPal has opened up to me in a way that that is phenomenal. I even have a card so from them. So yeah, it has a chip and everything and a strip, and I'm like, okay, it sounds like I'm supposed to use this feature as to means to where people can make a booking. And I noticed that I think when you book, I can either send you a note or send you because and there's an email exchange to right. So I will be able to send everything over to so that we can connect. That's when you get my phone number, by the way. So yeah, I do have a dedicated phone number for bookings, people who are waiting list. So those of you on the waiting list, you'll be able to yeah, you will be able to book those of you on the waiting list. I am cultivating a waiting list, not necessarily an email list, but just a way where I can get to you. This is what I'm going to fulfill. Here is the receipt. And if anything else you may need, I can also record. If you really need that done, I can record the conversation so that you can have that for yourself if that's necessary. But I also have a gift of remembering all the readings, and I'm pretty sure you'll be taking notes of the readings. Yeah, I am definitely like I'm a bit serious because I'm reading at an international level. I read for people over the world. And yeah, so I need to keep going in this direction because I'm moving towards becoming an author. So yeah, uh, grow with me, please. Grow with me. And plus, you're gonna want to grow because right now clearly we're facing some interesting challenges, that come with even changes. So there's challenges that come with changes, and it doesn't seem like it's going to calm down anytime soon. By the way, I've already posted it on. Oh, I make a lot of predictions, big world predictions on very accurate on Twitter, and I don't take them down. I don't rewrite them or don't make them fit into something like connecting dots. I don't have to. Oh, and also while I've been away, I've been studying the conservation of energy. So, which they better explain my ability to predict the future better than like metaphysical people. To be honest, I'm like reading the book. I'm like really truly understand. I got my notes. Yeah, I took my notepad so yeah, I've been going on this date with this author. I always leave the book there. I like the process of going to the library, pulling the book off the shelf, putting, setting all my work. So basically, it talks about the conservation of energy. They've been actually come to find out they've been. So I got into this abstract mathematics, and I thought it was like something that just popped out of nowhere. They've been working on abstract mathematics since like the World Wars, like World War, I believe, two or something like that. So yeah, uh, yeah, abstract mathematics. So they get into like conservation, energy, like they explain it better. Okay, so I would explain it, and they said yes. Not all like nature can be expressed through mathematics. So there are certain like theories that do not come with a formula, and there's just a deeper understanding. I'm like, wow, this person is making sense, and then goes on to express that um okay, so I always the way I word it is like the people say, does the future ever change? Because with the whole free will, yes, but I always say, but there's always something left behind. Like there's certain things, and that's the part that's conservation of energy. In fact, okay, so this is the difference between conservation, like me making predictions, right, and hindsight, because some people can say in hindsight, um, your room wouldn't be messy had you cleaned it. So now, me as a psychic, I would make a prediction that you received a phone call and it was a friend, you went to a friend's need in a time of a crisis, and you're a bit scattered in your energy. So that's something that would be a prediction, right? So then going forward, if when I'm making other predictions like, oh, I see that you're going to be given actually a job offer through someone you just recently met, you'll sit with them and you'll have dinner. And parts of this conversation will stem back from when you had taken time away from self and from home to deal with your friend. So people are like, how did you come up with that? Well, psychically, there's those are conservation energy, things that are constant on the timeline that can be plotted. And he even says that it can be plotted to details as opposed to seeing the obvious, like you didn't do the room. Now look at you. You're stressed out. Then I look at you. You're not taking care of yourself as much. Then look at you. Now, look, your friends are trying to invite you out. You don't even want to go, do you? Like things that you like hindsight. And then also, it's not foresight. It's not very intuitive. You're just pointing out things you see. So I was like, so I always battled with that. I was like, well, like how do you deal with the hindsight stuff is like like people try to hop onto that invisible part and there's no way there, there's no point there. There are no points. It's like uh obviously, if you voted or obviously, you voted and you put in your word, you raised your hand and and now you are what they call it. Now that you're confirmed, now you have to walk it out. You've already committed to that, so you have to see it through. Like you're the one that volunteered to go into work today. So yeah. So then you're like, okay, yeah, I did, but why do you feel the need to repeat something that I've already done? That I told you that. And you telling me back in hindsight what I'm already doing. Why? So, so that's not psychic. That's just hindsight. That's just pointing out things that are obvious and pointing out things that you know already. So anyway, but now that's the way that I look at it. But I love the way that the author explains, because the author says lots of things about what he mentions about how energy is conserved, or like there's certain like when energy. By the way, he says is like it's the etymology he says is like for I think it's Greek and it means work inside. So it means inside work. Inside work. That's what he said. That is no different from what we think energy like being within yourself. What is energy? The energy within oneself is separate from the force in a person's life, like something tangible, which they said literally the force is tangible, which is interesting because we speak of love and we speak of love being of action, being tangible. And then we speak on spiritual energy, to pull in, I guess that those forces of like prosperity, and good health. So I'm starting to understand. Like I'm gonna keep reading, you guys. I'm gonna. What are this branch of people? It's like they are theoreticists, scientific or physics theoreticists of like theoretical mathematics, or no, theoretical sciences. That's what they are. They're kind of like these, like they present these theories based on theorems, proof, and real mathematics. Like they are really into like that physical realm. So they know what they're talking about. They're qualified to speak in that realm, but they just bring some of the most interesting subject to the forefront. So I'm enjoying that little piece of read, and I'll definitely incorporate some of the language because I think that you all better understand numbers than you do when I speak my abstract language, which I speak very fluently. um, I picked up a new method called, it's called Oracle Readings. And Oracle Readings actually allow me, well, the baseline is I begin to eventually not, I can read you without reading my tools. So I know I didn't have to read with the tools, but it's educational. Like this is all education to me, and I do it with great skill, okay, and experience. But this year, before I went on my break, I was reading no. I've been reading with no tools, no conversations of. Although they're here, and I'm studying them, yes, still. And I've even begun study the Celtic astrology, so I'm still studying. But yeah, so that's also fascinating. And I think that the clients are having a better experience because the teaching part, they like not having to try to understand this language and keep up with it. And throughout the reading, they're more like just getting, it's like they become the tool, more or less. They become the canvas. And I, you know, help them to, I visualize onto them, but they actually get it, I think, in terms of on a very mathematical level. So, very logical level. So, I've been speaking that way. So, that's the one part I have sort of encouraged more into my readings. So yeah, so in other words, you might see me doing readings and where I'm not accessing any of my tools because I don't seemingly I don't have to, and I think it's more like I become more confident in not to read with my tools because I would read with the tool. I mean, I would read with the tools and then I would set them down after your time. But now I've been going into readings full on, and the same length of the readings still happen, but I feel that to me, it feels like the client is becoming more enriched. I can hear it in their voices, and they're so excited, and they call me back again, and but for different subjects. But anyway, I know they are missing me because I took a little over a week away. And right in the middle of where all their life changes for the better is happening, I jetted out that week. That's the week I was like, that's the week right there. Like all they have to do is go there and knock the ball at the ballpark. That's all that's a total responsibility. I felt like, yeah, they can do it. And then they're going to celebrate. They won't be able to, well, they won't be reaching out to me and say, "Hey, guess what? Guess what? I got it! I got it! I got it!" I won't. I probably will miss that part, or they'll probably do that with share that with someone else. Maybe they'll go out to a nice dinner, or tell a nice stranger what's going on with them. I got a few people. My men are going on dates finally, and with my golly, some so the guy, this happens with the women too, but this is very interesting. The guy, the first time he heard this one name, he said, "No, no, 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 no." It's like he knew in his heart that no, 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 he will fall in love. Turns out of the five, she's the one. So I got them onto the date, and they've already initiated that they're going to do a excursion together. So yeah, we got a love match underway from the male's perspective, and then for the ladies, we've the world has become the lady's oyster, and now I have to get into the subject of love. So now we got to call in uh, the woman's lover, because I mean, it's only fair. They did their part. So they, I said, once the world is opened up, now they have all access of all of the kingdoms, wherever they want to go. And so the next conversation should be they officially working and now heavily in the social realm. Got that gravitational of friends. No need, no worry of that. And now it's okay. But then they start saying this is a nice life, but it's kind of like watching those young stories where the person they go out to some magical land, but they can't. Then it's like they want to go home because they kind of want to grow up. It's kind of like that. They're like, okay, like this has been wonderful. It's been nice. It's beautiful, but they start thinking about what about a little like contact. So, so now we've reached into that subject. So that's like the next big wave. So hence circle back into or dive or segue right back into this is a time of all about partnership relationships. Oh yeah, the name of the new year 2026 is about marriage and unity. So, like partnerships that are unities that we're creating for this time or right now in 2025, we'll enter 2026 with these connections intact. They're going to be healthy, and yes, we're well on our way. So that is that generally. But yeah, those of you who are, I don't, I have to be honest, I don't quite have it all laid out. Oh, by the way, this is Reed. That's my last name. And it's one of the 13 uh, trees, Celtic astrology. But anyway, so we're trying to figure out how to, and so that you all can easily um, get onto the waiting list of readings. So I didn't post the links in this live because I just got back, but I'll have to do that. But yeah, there's no point in me starting to do the readings like right now because I've got readings already lined out. I'm gonna have to do those readings, and then yeah. So yeah, I said I don't want to drive myself off. I'm already I'm already losing it. I just got back, you guys, and I'm just coming here just to shuffle the cards to get back in the feel of things. You know how I get. Sometimes I forget whether if I'm coming or going. I'm in two different time zones. I'm like, what is this? Is this like, December 1st, or is it like what day is it? That's is it the 7th? Oh, it's the 6th. Okay. So, yeah. But I will bounce back, and it's good to be back talking with you guys about a few things, sharing with you about things that I've learned over these past week, uh, and help me to better explain, how I do the things I do, like especially making predictions. But yes, my predictions are not based on hindsight. My predictions are not hindsight. It's a divination. It's a practice. I read the future. I predict the future. Yes, it says there shall. It says I yeah. Um. Ooh, no, 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 no. You, welcome to America. Welcome to America. You're in America. I'm an American psychic. Okay. By it says, well, actually, we don't need. Actually, we don't need any of that. So yeah. So okay. So so yeah. So I'm making all of my rounds and getting connected and correlated. I do. By the way, I'm not blocking them. Okay. So I interpret the scriptures. And so let me explain to you something. Israel, no, no, no. Let me no, hold on. Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. This is what I'm giving you. Israel was the, I mean, if you can be patient, Israel was the ones who were sacrificing to other deities. And this is why. This is why how prophets came to exist. Prophets came to exist because Israel, not other nations, Israel were making sacrifices to a deity called Molech. And by making sacrifices to Molech, now we have to understand why were they making sacrifices to Molech. So they were taking children who were born to be prophets and sacrificing them to Molech and choosing who they wanted to be prophets. So that's an illustration. This is an illustration that then your Bible says you will not he will choose the ones who will speak for him. He will choose, not you. He chose who he wanted to see. And because hold on. No, no. No, no. Let me explain to you something. God, your God in your book had to say that you cannot make divination. Now, let me explain what divinations are. Divination is when you take animals and you cut them open and you read the entrails. That's what you do. You're taking live animals, cutting them open and reading the entrails of that animal. And that was your divination. And you were, but get this, you weren't taking animals, you were taking live prophets. So, and also throughout the entire, all the way from the Old Testament all the way to the Apocrypha, God says you actually kill your prophets. So the children who are actually born of who are allowed to speak for the gods, you kill them, and then you sacrifice and make offerings to a different version of God or to a Molech like God, and you give the gift of sight and divination to children. Hold on, no, you give the gift of divination. You give the gift of divination to other children who were never intended to be prophets. The gods never intended for the children that who you chose to be a god or to be a prophet, a diviner. They were never God never intended for them to be. So you're choosing, you are selecting who will read and interpret words by the gods and who won't. And but that's not how a prophet is chosen. And here's another thing. Prophets, okay, so when the gods finally figure out a way how to know which people were actual real prophets, this is how you know. They're never wrong. They're never wrong, not even slightly. They're not some no 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 no. Listen, you say that you preach and you teach that it's okay for prophets to be semi wrong, very wrong, and living poorly as an example of someone who is listening to the gods. That's what you accept. But the book, let me tell you what the book says. The book says, the gods say that a prophet is never miss. A prophet is a never miss. What is a prophet? Okay, no, no. Let me explain to JS because since what's his face can't you can't explain what a prophet is. I will explain what a prophet is. A prophet is someone who can hear the information perfectly with no mistake from the gods from the other side. That's what a prophet is. No mistake, no error. And see, he can't. He can't. He can't. He can't establish who is a prophet because only a God who's chosen that person to be a prophet for them, the God, can choose if they want that prophet to speak for them. Meaning a prophet is someone who speaks literally for the gods. They don't pose as a god. They don't get to be a god, but they can say what God is saying or what God or a God has said, and it's 100% no mistakes. No mistakes. And so you have people like that coming in here choosing who can be a prophet, who's supposed to be a prophet, who can be a prophet, and the person who they're choosing is riddled with errors and mistakes. Okay, that's why you have to. It doesn't. Your belief won't save you if your information is wrong. If your information is wrong, your belief will not save you. Look, whenever I make a psychic prediction, people literally are terrified because they're like, first of all, they're hanging on to a telephone. They're like, "Are you sure? Like, is that okay? Just what you're hearing from spirit?" And then they go off and live their life. And then I'm telling them to show up for an interview because they're going to get that job. You know what I'm saying? Or like reach out to that woman. I know she's told you, like, move on, but reach out to her one more time. She just wants you to be clear on what you want to do with your life. And he does it, and she opens up to him and says, "Okay, where have you been? This is what I was looking for." Like, or the man who says he's about to soon graduate his son from high school. He got his grades back up. He can now play football. Guess what? He's remarried, and like he's gonna remarry. What's she gonna look like? That's a woman of my dream. You come on? Are you serious? Guess what? A few months later, we're pregnant. Yes, I'm having a daughter now. You're having a daughter? Yes, I'm the happiest man in the world. Yeah, like that is that is as close as prophetic as you will ever get. That is as close as prophetic as you will ever get. The other thing is, let's say, okay, now on my Twitter, same handle, I speak about world affairs, right? So on my Twitter, I speak on world affairs all throughout. Guess who liked my posts? I can't even think of his name. I have to like look him up. Let me see. Let me try to find him. His name is Vivek Ramsey liked my post. Vivek Ramsey, Republican, liked my post that was prophetically, psychically presented. He liked my post. That is someone in the position of being more closer to a prophet than someone who is just, look, you're practicing hindsight. You running around and sharing random scriptures is not prophetic. That's not you're not moving in prophetic. You're not prophecy. You're not a prophet or prophetess. Just because you're running around and putting some Vivek Ramsey liked my and other people like Barron Trump. People in that space like my posts that, and the posts that I share are my psychic predictions, are my predictions, what I am observing as a psychic. I'm able to be my truth more than you're able to stand by your word, by your word. It says that by the way, I love this all of the spiritual doctrines, and I think I'm blessed with the ability to be very particular with all of the doctrines that I partake in. So yeah, I can focus and channel scriptures 100% correct and accurately interpret them. And I can't trust you with an instruction manual if you cannot interpret it correctly. If that is true, okay, you say that, or you teach that is an instructional manual, but you constantly misinterpret it, and then you pass it off as prophetic, or well, it's spiritual or something, like spirit, by putting spirit with it, as opposed to like fill in the gaps, the missing parts. No, you just interpret it not so good. You didn't interpret it properly, because it doesn't take all that for me to interpret everything I just interpreted. You can see where you can draw the Big Dipper with everything I just said. The things you just said is just random ramblings, and you don't know what in the world you're trying to get to. You're looking at something you don't, you know, I want to say you don't understand. It could be jealousy too. It could be jealousy. You could be hating on. I don't know. I don't know you. You could be hating on the culture because you're like, you know, you could be have something against, culture, European culture. I don't know. So yeah. So I'm just saying, no. Everything in anyone's culture is not all bad. And I think that you skip the really great parts of all of the Bibles in the world. The fact that all the cultures in the world actually come together. That's the part that you're missing, sadly. Even Egypt, Spain, uh, Rome, Greece, Israel, they all came together. All of the worlds, all of the European nations came together. America is also a nation. All of them came together. When you read the books, all of them came together, and you're missing that part. You're like you're going all around the part where, as they move into the promise, that the promised land, everybody, the world nations inherited the promised land, the promises of, like the promises of something better than they've ever known before. You walk past that to criticize culture that you have your bias, and I'm recognizing your biases. I think you have bias. I think that you're culturally so biased that you are not you're failing to see the beautiful parts of well preserved culture right now, and that's a shame. It's like the Crusaders burning libraries again, but in 2025 this is a time of fabulous technology. I'm talking to you as though I'm speaking to a crystal ball. And that is the conversational thread that that's the beauty of the First Amendment. So, all right, I'm gonna leave it there. It says, to justify their bad behaviors. Yeah, they're justifying bad behavior. Oh, I did not digress to that. I wasn't gonna fall for that because I know that they'll use scripture, and then because somebody came in here and they were throwing the scripture right, and then I let them go on in the very same breath, the last sentence they were like, now go make a OF account. That's exactly what like every time they always come in here. I mean, every time it's always they do the whole scripture thing, and then they're like, okay, like okay, derobe and and do that, do the things. So that right there is letting me know that not every like that is it's like scriptures can be used part of trolling processes or trying to create train wreck through trolling online, and then using a scripture as like a gateway, vehicle. But the reason it's not just because, first of all, that's just crazy. That's ludicrous talk. No one is doing that here on YouTube channel. That's number one. They're not gonna like run my channel to do that. And secondly, that's a business. This is not the place to practice that business. I'm not accepting any forms of payment for that. I'm hardly even accepting booking. You can hardly find a place to book me to get on my waiting list to do psychic readings that I actually provide, a service I actually provide, which is psychic readings as the adult entertainment, but not the adult content form of entertainment, if you will. Also, last piece is that, um, like psychologically, that's insane. It's not even spiritual. That's not spiritual. So I wouldn't follow that anyway. And also, I'm an American. I can do whatever I want, as much as they have the First Amendment right to say whatever they want and believe however they want and interpret the Bible the way they want. I have the right to interpret it correctly. I have the right to live my life correctly. I have my right to live my life in an outstanding way. Yeah, Vivek Ramsey hearted my Twitter post, by the way, and so has a Baron Trump. And I'm being authentically full on psychic. So when people say you're crazy, no, this place is not a drug den. This is not, I'm not whacked out. I'm absolutely so sober. You looking for cigarettes. No, there's no sign of tobacco here. By the way, tobacco is sacred in Native American language, but and also other herbs. Not saying I hadn't had a great time in the past. I'm just saying that in this space is sanctuary. When you're in this space, there is no alcohol, there is no drugs. This is not a trap house. This is not. In other words, this is not me like whacked out, cracked out, whatever out it is, on the booze, on the binge, and now I've got a hold of Twitter, and Twitter is speaking all this, prejudice stuff, and I'm like, oh man, the UFO should be coming any day now. Look at the government's. No, no, no. This is healthy, spiritual, real, and yes, and all of the symbols. Odin's here. Who else? Oh gosh, what's your name? Oshun is here. Apollo's here. Baby Krishna's here. Jesus is here if you know where to look. You got to know where to find him. But a whole bunch of other people's here, okay? Too. Yes. Yes. And Native American, they're here in spirit. They're here in spirit. The different forms of tarot is here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite ones is this one. I like Orunla. He's here. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Everybody's here. Because that's the way it was, that's the direction that the gods were going. The gods were bringing every culture, everybody together, and was saying, look, this is every bit of yours as it is any one of those who are Israel, Jewish born. This is every bit of yours as it is theirs, because it's about the nations, the nations coming together to be a part of something greater. It wasn't like, you know, like a divide, like, no, they weren't like keeping other people out, is what I'm saying. They're not keeping other people out. So I could go deeper. I could go to very specific things if you care to want to know. I mean, I don't play around. Like, for example, like, okay, the reason why I don't like to, okay, I like to visit the whole, like race thing, blah blah blah, occasionally. But this is what I know. So there's that, right? All that you see it every day. Now this is what I know. What the Bible says in Leviticus 24. There was the entire chapter of 20. When you go to read Leviticus 24, at least when I do, because I know it's not in every Bible. I know that their Bibles are different, and Bibles are not all equal. But the Bibles that is specifically from Hebrew into English, the chapter 24, there was an Egyptian man and there was an Israeli woman, and they were married. They had a child that would make that child mixed, not just mixed in culture, enriched in culture, being the male is Egypt. They just left Egypt, and also having an Israeli mom, so culturally being Israel, right? So the child was both, well, biblically there was, he would claim what his father would be, which would be Egyptian, but he had a mom who would have taught him everything. And plus the Egyptian and the Israeli woman are actually under the hand of Moses the prophet. There was Israel young men who were picking at the young child, the son of the Egyptian husband and the Israeli wife. And so Moses asked Yahweh how to handle the situation. Yahweh gave to Moses he says, the congregation come together and pelt him. Pelt. Look up pelt. P-E-L-T. Pelt him. So Moses had to give the instruction, which is the command from Yahweh to the congregation. You know what congregation is? That means church. To pelt this young Israel man for being discriminatory and prejudice practices and bigotry towards the son of the Egyptian who is engrafted. And by the way, okay, so that's one, that whole chapter is about that. And then in the chapter 25, before Israel enters into the land of Canaan that was promised, and that's also why there's why, well, there's a whole other story. I'm gonna try to stay on point. That's why they were upset, because they're like, we don't want these other people coming in here. This is because, I mean, think about it. All your life, or many generations, even your grandfathers, the fathers before him, were told that this is yours, this was your inheritance, and now they're being told that these people, these other nations that they've fought and conquered, some of them are coming in with them. Yeah. Okay. So now my point, Moses actually, with the word term engrafted, people like women, children, men into the houses of Israel. So there were three groups who occupied the land of Canaan. There were the Canaanites, by the way, who were uh, who were Israel, who were Semitic, in other words. And by the way, Yahweh accepts his name El, so it actually he's called Yahweh El together. There's no distinction, and then there's all this argument of Canaan having many gods, and no, those are many. Those are the names of God, and El is one of the embraced name to Yahweh, linked to Yahweh, representing that he was there to. The only reason why he was upset with Canaan is because Canaan just wasn't taking care of. They broke covenant and they just weren't taking care of the land, and so of course the metaphysics is, well, Israel would come and help, would be a companion to Canaan. And then the third group is the nations. The nations like Egypt and so forth, Arab world, entered with Israel. And by the way, they did not fight. They were actually commanded again to walk into the land of Canaan with mental integrity and intelligence. And they actually walked in there single file, like a single file line. First, it was like the men who were 50 and up, right? And then the men who were 40 to 50 were helping those older men enter the land. And then all the rest, like 30 below, were helping the women, the children, to enter the land. And they sent the elders first because they were commanded to intellectually enter the land, not through force or fighting or war or any of that. So, and scientifically, the genealogists from London did research, and they said when they go to the city that was Canaan, there's no sign of like fight. Actually, there was cohabitation. They found 5 skeletons of Palestinian. Palestinian are indigenous to that land. At least they have roots and traces all the way to the Canaanite people themselves. And guess what they were? They were farmers. So they had all of their farming tools. They were farmers, not warriors. Farmers, not so there weren't warring. They were living, thriving together. And then of course when you read it correctly, Leviticus 25, you discover that it's not talk is Leviticus 25 is not about slavery, by the way. It is all about what do you call it? Like establishing enterprises, your personal enterprises, and also when you incorporate. So you're talking about people who are already paid. There's a distinction between being paid and not being paid, and but in your language, in your book, and the way you teaching it and preaching it, or not you specifically, but people who sometimes they're walking around and they're saying these things about what I'm over here doing, you know, they're not speaking any of the things that I'm sharing right now. So me walking into that conversation, there's already a language barrier. So let alone a spiritual understanding, like a comprehension, like, because there's now, things get distorted. So anyway, I can stop there. Pretty much you got it, right? That what I'm talking about makes sense. And I can actually show, like I could show it to you. I mean, I could, which I intend to do when I get to memberships, I can like bring up on my, which I have done actually in just like regular lives like these. That's many times. There are videos that I have posted up where literally in the studio and I bring up and we're reading line by line, and I'm comparing a Bible. By the way, I do actually have. I don't want to show this simply because I'm not trying to say get my soul saved. I'm not trying to say, look, I'm not so bad. I'm just for educational purposes. I do happen to own a regular Bible, okay? Not to show that because I'm looking for credit. No, I'm not at all. So whenever you read from that Bible, but you interpret it from the Hebrew into English, the Bible doesn't always have the context of what God in the or the gods are saying from their language into English. Basically, it's well, we're interpreting in the way that we would not only understand it like in our language, but also culturally. Like culturally, no, I wouldn't be treating everyone equal. That's absolutely absurd. Like this is a perfect blueprint how to actually do the opposite. Make it unfair. And make people work and not pay them. But that's different when Leviticus says, don't make people into the people of Canaan. Don't make anyone, not even your own people, not even Canaan, even says it to Canaan. Like even Canaans and other Canaans are like your own people are not even allowed to do that. Even your own family, it goes as specific as saying not even your own uncle could do that to your nephew, and your nephew cannot do that to your uncle or other family members. Make to work without paying them, which is a difference between a servant and a hired one. So they don't teach you hired one. They leave that out, and you only give you they give you okay. And then last piece is that oh, and your young sons, you're supposed to teach them how to work and not work for free for anyone. That is a commandment. You're supposed to teach your young ones, your young sons or your boys into becoming men to work for profit. That is a commandment. You're not supposed to set them up where they're working constantly for not like just to work for other people, more or less, kind of being handed around. And also, it's even gender neutral. Before even gender neutral was even, before I even knew what that was, yes, it even speaks to the women that the women are to be paid in silver. Yep, the maidens are not enslaved. Like, okay, so the word maiden is not like serving as a enslaved woman in bondage, but they did take women are women, females, and so they did take care of females. Like they would like she like the men sometimes if the man wanted to go out into the world, the man could go, but the woman would had the ability to stay and channel her wifery abilities, her homestead abilities to look after herself. She didn't have to go out into the world like the men. And she could even, where eventually a man, could choose her to be a wife. By the way, who she would go to her own family and not stay with I guess, I don't, in your language, it would be like her master. So, no, that's not how they, no, the man could take his family and incorporate his own business and have his house and have his land, and he didn't have like over borrowed credit on his tools, on the land of his house. So the whole thing is really interpreted poorly. Okay, so there's no reason rhyme that I would even have a conversation with someone who just immediately comes in and starts throwing that information out there, let alone the trolling part where at the end they ask you, okay, now that I've got put away that, now go over there and make an OF account. So besides that, besides the silliness, even if they were genuinely concerned for my soul, I would not. I would double down on that. I would not be taking, and this is not me being hard up like, oh, this is what I believe, what my God said. Nothing like that. Nothing strange, and definitely not spiritual, more psychological, well, self rewarding. Nothing like that. No, I don't believe they understand the difference between what's going on here and divination, because it's kind of like saying, um, okay, you could say slavery is bad, but then today, then trying to equate today of, yeah, there's wage slavery, right? There's people who but think about it. You don't have to stay in that job, and there's other jobs. I know people say no, but no, there's not. I've looked. No, you don't have to. You don't have to stay in that job. You can leave that job. You could take up a whole nother skill. You could take up a whole, you don't know what the future holds in regards to you leaving that job that is just paying you not what you feel you're worth. Now, you can't apply that to slavery, somebody who literally, cannot, the law says they literally cannot stop working. So, it's that kind of thing where it comes to divination. And by the way, both practices are wrong. Like taking advantage, and by the way, the scriptures in Leviticus speaks about that. It's called perpetuity, making people like keep getting paid into your business for they to be a part of your business, keeping them entangled in kind of like an IOU. That is perpetuity, and yes, that is sinful, and also just a bad business practice. It speaks to character. That's a bad character. You're making people. You're not helping them, their family, not helping the person become enriched and be able to, to have a sense of liberty where they can go off and create their own. But on the other hand, today, what makes it different from like forced work for this being forced onto you, right? You can actually just be smarter than that. Like now I know they're doing it. Okay, I'm going to outsmart that, and I'm going to build towards something that's going to help me have my own, provide for my own. So you can look at it like still you're not stuck. Absolute, it's not absolute, even though it's you might not like it, it may be uncomfortable, but you still have a choice, and there's a difference of having a choice versus not having a choice. That's all in my point. But both are wrong. Both are wrong. Don't get me confused. I'm just saying I don't equate the two of them the same. Okay, and more like I don't equate what this is, even if you want to call it divination, to actual animal and human child sacrifice as divination practices. I'm not going to sit here and equate the two. I'm not going to. This came from a hot printing press, the Miles Brother gaming system, you know, as far as I know. There is no way I'm going to equate this to the sacrifice of animals and children. So there's that, and I guess we can leave it there. That's it, right? I think that's it. We covered it. So anyway, so that's a little bit. I gives you a little bit of insight of types of difficult subjects that I want to talk about eventually in memberships. That's why I'm working so hard. I'm struggling to get this next 100 watch hours, you guys. But I do want to have serious readings with you. I take my craft very serious, the integrity of my work. So that means when I'm reading for you and I'm helping you throughout your life, I'm going to take your life serious as well. Like when you have questions, that's why I'm removing my readings from this format, because that way people are not interfering with what I'm sharing. That is for only you, which it should be private. It should be something that's only meant for you. And energetically, you should feel like, yeah, I'm doing this for me. It's private and it doesn't go any further than here. I'm not being judged. Even if it's online, somebody cutting in and throwing scriptures that they don't even themselves understand. So I would rather create a space which I think will be in memberships. But even then, I'm still creating a space where people can, but yeah, I'm going to offer my dedicated phone number for people to reach out through, well, in memberships so that they can book a reading. Now, technically, I don't have the link up though, but yes, I can already start the waiting list for people who want readings. And but you would end up basically the way it goes is I believe uh, excuse me, PayPal allows people to leave some sort of like an email address. So then I give the information where we're going to contact, whether it's through the link in where it could be FaceTime, it could be phone. Yeah, but I do have a dedicated phone number, so people could just say just on the phone or text if they don't want voice or nothing. I can also do the texting bit as well. So there's like 5 different ways in which I could deliver a reading: phone, video, video, text, chat, email. So those are the 5 different ways. Yeah, you can receive your reading through email as well. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm doing, and we're gonna keep it spiritual and and keep everyone. I guess now everybody protected from whatever, even if they mean well and good intentions, it's still wrong. So yeah, because you could be a good person genuinely. You don't have to be like a not just to pan them off as all creepy, but yeah, they could really mean well, but they're misguided in their information, and that's still a big huge problem because if I take heed to that misguided information, then somebody's life isn't getting changed for the better, and that doesn't help anybody. So yeah, so there's that. Mhm. Well, I guess I have to get ready for today's second phase. I'm exhausted, as you could tell. I have to sign into the second part of my work today. I'm going easy today. Like I'm coming in like 4 hours later and get reacquainted and see what happens for the day. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be, oh gosh, it's going to be a month to behold. But I'll check in with you all and let y'all know how it's all going. And please keep following. Yeah. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything spiritual, my thoughts on scripture, I will give you my opinion and I'll give you also what I just read because most likely I read it. And I'll share what it said, what it actually says, and then I can also give you my opinion as well if you want. But yeah, my opinion, I didn't give you my opinion, have I? I only gave you what the scriptures said correctly though. I gave it to you accurately. So in my opinion, I would like to believe without the murders, and the murders of like harming children or animals, without all of that. I would like to for people to believe however they want to believe. They want to believe that this is what God don't want them doing. Fine. I'm okay with that. I am absolutely like I'm applauding, and I don't know if people don't understand that or not, but I'm actually happy for you that you don't need this, and this is not for you. And God told you, I will never read for you. I will now not now. If you try to be sneaky, naturally I'm going to look at you. My psychic eyes are going to look at you and become aware of you. But I mean, like if like security, like kind of like if I walk by your house and you have your security camera on, your camera feed is going to pick me up, right? So it's the same thing. If you come around and if you're on property or my premises or cross the line, I'm going to be aware of it and I'm going to see you. That's my security. But when you say, look, that's just not for me, God don't want that for me, that won't help me. I give you all, like, do that. Like, you don't have to tell me. You even have the free will, or you have the right, the First Amendment right, not to say anything at all. Or is that the Fifth Amendment? You don't have to say. You don't have to tell me nothing. So you don't have to tell me this isn't for you. You don't have to tell me that God said that you don't need to be doing this. You don't have to mention any of that. You can just say, I just don't believe that that's for me, or I don't think that you can help me, or that's not going to enrich my life. You don't even have to say that to me. But but you could go with that, and I will absolutely, that is your right. Okay, that is your right. All right. But I'm gonna continue to have a great day, a fabulous day. I'm gonna have a good day, and the clients that are going to allow me to show how I can be a part of their psychic experience, I'm going to help them. And I'm going to want them to have a great day, prosperous day, have success come into their life, and have a well-balanced life, and have a great family, a large family, have new friends, great loyal friends, and have big contracts, and, and money coming in, and and travel and see the world, and not be looking over their shoulder about, even spiritually, not thinking that there's something dark in their life hindering them, or that they got a black, something dark, force entity operating in their life. I want them to live freely, abundantly, with light and love, with the experience of waking up every day and having the full on human experience that was intended for them. That's what I'm, and also defying all the odds. That's what I want for the people, those who I am able to work with. So, with that said, I'm going to close this one out, and I'm going to try to get back into scheduling. This month of November, I'm putting it out into the universe. Y'all can hear the affirmation. I'm declaring November, I'm back. No, I'm getting back into hanging out with you guys. All right. See y'all later.